Hey everybody, it's the Red Man again. And after the Super Bowl, I was looking forward to an extended break from the NFL's cancer, but I just can't seem to get away from it. To make a long story short, the SJW Cancel Cretins, the same Untermenschen who tried, I don't know if you'd say successfully, but they certainly tried to cancel Gina Carano over absolutely nothing, have descended upon the Jacksonville Jaguars. Stupid drop-down menus. Jacksonville, the SJW Cancel Cretins have descended upon the Jacksonville Jaguars for, again, absolutely no reason. They just woke up and thought, this will be a fun thing to destroy. This will be a fun thing to ruin, to detract from the Jaguars, from the NFL, from football, from sports, from the human species. Let's just get into the article. As you can see right here, Jacksonville Jaguar Director of Sports Performance Chris Doyle resigns amid backlash. There was no actual backlash. There was just media hacks in ESPN and wherever the hell Jameel Hill works nowadays. I don't know. Those were the only people having any backlash to this. The Jacksonville Jaguars and their 57 fans didn't care a whit about this. The NFL, nobody cared until these malignant, useless locusts made it an issue over absolutely nothing. That's what they do. They start shit, and then they cite the shit that they started as evidence that shit had been started by the person they started shit with. SJWs always consider their accusations to be tantamount to your guilt. So they invariably just cite their own allegations while confirming your guilt. That is, of course, total horseshit, not how a normal, healthy human mind works, but these people aren't mentally or emotionally healthy. The article by Michael D. Rococo. Hack. Jacksonville Jaguars Director of Sports Performance Chris Doyle, the former strength coach at University of Iowa who was accused of making racist remarks and belittling and bullying players while there, resigned late Friday night, just hours after the organization was criticized for the hire by the Fritz Pollard Alliance. Now, if you're asking yourself what the Fritz Pollard Alliance is, join the club. I had never heard of these idiots or any reason why they thought they should have any input on the Jacksonville Jaguars coach hirings before right now. First-year Jaguars coach Urban Meyer released a statement that said the team failed to properly consider the impact of hiring Doyle, who had reached a separation agreement from Iowa in June as a result of allegations made by multiple capital B lack players. Every time I see this, I think I'm just going to ask again, has racism been ended by this yet? Black people, are you better off because ESPN's capitalized the letter B in the word black? No? Well, maybe if we do it some more, something good will actually happen, right? That's how sane people think, right? These schmucks drive me up the wall. The article continues. Chris Doyle came to us this evening to submit his resignation, and we have accepted, Meyer's statement read. Chris did not want to be a distraction to what we are building in Jacksonville. Allow me to translate that. Chris realized these people, Michael D. Rococo, the Fritz Pollard Alliance, Jameel Hill, these vicious, evil motherfuckers were going to hound him wherever he went and never let him do his job again. So he just said, screw it, I'm out. And what was gained from this evil, willful act of destruction? Absolutely nothing. Race relations weren't improved. The Jacksonville Jaguars were not improved. NFL was not improved. Football was not improved. The human species was not improved. In fact, everything was made worse by these malignant jackasses, and for absolutely no reason. We'll get to it. We see that Chris Doyle really appears to have done absolutely nothing wrong. But you don't have to do anything wrong for this mob of cancel cretins to come for you. All you have to do is be accused of anything by anyone at any time, with or without evidence, or in Gina Carano's case, simply not explicitly agree with them exactly how they want you to agree with them one time, and they will never stop trying to destroy you. They will follow you as far as they can, to the ends of the earth, trying to make sure you can never work again. Why they believe they have some moral authority to do that is beyond me. Most Catholics wouldn't assign that kind of moral authority to God himself, yet these people think they can determine who is and who is not allowed to be employed in the NFL, despite having no actual fucking relation to the NFL themselves. The move came hours after Fritz Pollard Alliance Executive Director Rod Graves, once again, I have no idea who the Fritz Pollard Alliance is or who Rod Graves, excuse me. They blasted the Jacksonville Jaguars and Meyer for hiring Doyle, quote, at a time when the NFL has failed to solve its problem with racial hiring practices. As he intends that sentence, that is a lie. It is simply unacceptable to welcome Chris Doyle into the ranks of NFL coaches. Who are you to determine that? What mandate from God do you think you have, Rod, to say who is and who is not allowed to be in the NFL? It doesn't seem like you're employed anywhere in the NFL, you worthless twat. You're just stirring shit and ruining everything for everyone. You're trying to make the National Football League, in a broader sense, football and all forms of escapism or entertainment for regular people. You're trying to make it all about your left-wing, intersectionalist, diversity-mongering politics. That's all they want to do. They don't want football. They want to sit there and lecture you. Oh, you're not good enough. You haven't bent over enough for our racial grievances. You've got to explicitly hire people based on race. And even when you do, it will never be enough to satisfy us, because if they were ever satisfied, they'd have nothing to do with their lives. The problem with the NFL's hiring practices, as it pertains to racial hiring practices, is that they have programs set up explicitly to hire based on race. Not that they don't hire enough black people, it's that they have a system set up to explicitly hire black people because they are black, which is of course discriminatory against white people, but also insulting to black people. Even like a black person who legitimately deserves the job, as most of them who get hired really do. Nobody in the NFL is actually hiring based on race. They just say, they say they want to, but then they hire based on merit. That still diminishes the black coaches who do get hired, because everyone says, oh, it's just the Rooney Rule. So this sort of shit detracts from everyone. They're not anti-white, they're not anti-black, they're anti-human. These malignant shit kickers. These cancel cretins and social justice warriors. They make the human species worse off. Doyle's departure from University of Iowa reflected a tenure riddled with poor judgment and mistreatment of black players. That's a lie. His conduct should be as disqualifying for the NFL as it was for University of Iowa. That's a lie. Why are you lying so much? We'll see here, Doyle's tenure did not entire tenure from, I believe, 1999 with the University of Iowa did not reflect a tenure riddled with poor judgment or whatever. There were some accusations made like a year ago where, as far as I can tell, absolutely nothing was found to substantiate these accusations. But of course, like I say, in the minds of these people, their accusations are tantamount to your guilt. They don't require any evidence, and there's no amount of evidence you could present to show them they're wrong that would ever convince them of the fact. They said you're guilty, therefore you're guilty. It's the modern age witch trials. This fucking loathsome fool continues. Urban Meyer's statement that I've known Chris for close to 20 years reflects the good old boy network that is precisely the reason there is such a disparity in employment opportunities for black coaches. Might I remind the listener that of the 7 available head coaching vacancies, 2 were filled by black people. They seem to be getting hired at a decent rate. That's like more than 15%. That's more than representative of black people within the United States population. More importantly, if it's the good old boy network, why haven't black coaches like Marvin Lewis or Mike Tomlin filled their ranks with nothing but other black coaches? Could it be that they're not racist? They're just, well, Marvin Lewis was staggeringly incompetent, and I'm kind of split on Mike Tomlin at this point. But they also try to bring in coaches and players and everybody else they have any input on hiring or firing. They want to do it on merit. It's not the good old boy network. And it has nothing to do with race in practice. You, Rod Graves, racist, are the only one obsessed with race here. This is the article itself now. The Fritz Pollard Alliance is an organization devoted to championing diversity in the NFL. Allow me to translate that from social justice warrior shill hack journalist to English. The Fritz Pollard Alliance is an organization devoted to championing racism in the NFL. It is comprised of scouts, coaches, and front office personnel in the NFL, as well as other sports professionals. So it's a group of busybody saboteurs that are just trying to ruin things to satisfy themselves, to give themselves a little squirt of dopamine so they can sleep easy before they just wake up tomorrow and go off to destroy something else. Doyle's hiring drew immediate backlash on Thursday. That's a blatant lie. Once again, there was no backlash except for a few shitheads in the media. Even Twitter didn't acknowledge this shit outside of Jameel Hill. And, like I say, the Jacksonville Jaguars, 57 fans, they didn't seem to have an opinion one way or the other on this. The backlash is entirely the people who are citing the backlash. This is a manufactured outrage just to destroy someone to satisfy evil people. These people are evil. We're going to skip ahead over a lot of filler to the point. These last two paragraphs really do drive home the fact that Doyle didn't do nothing. The university, referring to University of Iowa, placed Doyle on administrative leave on June 6 in the wake of those allegations. One day later, Doyle defended himself in a statement posted to Twitter that read, in part, "At no time have I ever crossed the line of unethical behavior or bias based upon race. I do not make racist comments, and I don't tolerate people who do." On June 14th, their investigation lasted maybe a week. On June 14th, it was announced that Doyle, who had been with the program since 1999, keep in mind this is June 14th, 2020, so in about 21 years, there was nothing until some issues were raised by the numerous former Iowa players who spoke out on social media last year. So for what seems more likely, that for 20 years there was no real problem and then legitimately some people brought up like legitimate allegations? No, some people complained because they had a personal beef with Doyle and made up bullshit. There was no problem for 20 years before these complaints just manifested out of the ether, saying black and white players were held to different standards, black players were mistreated, Doyle and other assistants made racist remarks, and black players, here's the real kicker, black players felt they had to conform to specific ways of dress and behavior. Welcome to Earth. You generally have to, you can't show up naked and acting like an asshole. You have to dress and act like you have some sense. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to learn to deal with it. And that didn't seem to be a problem for the first 20 years of his tenure. Only only now that you can basically accuse anyone of anything to have them ruined by these swarms of locusts did these allegations surface. And this final paragraph drives home just how hollow they were. On June 14th, it was announced that Doyle, who had been with the program since 1999, was out at Iowa. Doyle, who was the nation's highest paid strength coach at $800,000 annually, received 15 months' salary, roughly $1.1 million, and he and his family were awarded benefits from Iowa for 15 months or until he found employment elsewhere, which he did this month with the Jaguars. So this signals pretty clearly that they found no actual substantive evidence of to support any of these allegations. They found no good reason to actually fire him. They just paid him to go away to get these sorts of people like Michael D. Rokoku, Jameel Hill, and various Twitter maniacs, Twitter psychopaths, destructive evil sons of bitches off of their case because that was the only way they could do it. They get rid of Doyle, they don't got to put up with it anymore. They just paid him to go away. That's it. In that diminished University of Iowa. They lost a competent strength coach that had been with their program for 20 years over absolutely nothing, over made-up allegations. And now the Jacksonville Jaguars have lost that same strength coach due to people citing allegations that never had any substantive support in reality. They made up something to ruin this guy, and they will not let him be employed anywhere in these United States, apparently. They will follow him. These small handful of absolute psychopaths in the sports media, on the left wing, on Twitter, etc., they will hound him for as long as they can. There is nothing you can do to get them to see reason, to placate them, to come to an understanding with him. I don't make these videos to try to convince them about anything ever. They are effectively religious fanatics. You cannot reason with them, cooperate with them, or in any way function with them. You have to get rid of them wherever you find them, or they will, like they've done to the NFL, infest it and make it all about their mental and emotional inadequacies and their ridiculous politics. They refuse to let you just play football. They refuse to let you just watch Star Wars or whatever. They must make absolutely everything about themselves and their problems. They want everyone to be as miserable as them. I make these videos so that anybody who watches them might be rallied to stand up to these sort of cretins so that we don't have to put up with this shit too much longer into the future. It is becoming extremely grating. Anyway, I'm going to wrap that up here before I get going on another half-hour long rant. I'm the Red Man. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're one of the 57 fans of the Jacksonville Jaguars, by all means, let me know. I've never actually seen one of you in the wild before. Like the video. Subscribe if you want to hear me rant and rave more. Until next time, take care. I'll see you then.